Okay, I need just a minute to look at my notes, so just give me 30 seconds. Welcome to the 2016 North-South meeting. For those of you who are a little problem with geography, this is the North meeting. I just learned this morning that we're actually doing this live, which makes me a little nervous, mostly because of what I was going to say. In a minute, Michelle Center is going to come up, our state's assessment director, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about our Smarter Balance results. But here in California, our motto is, make assessments great again. So we tested millions. Millions of people love me. No, I mean my test. What we did in California, we tested 3.2 million kids. We really implemented this test bigly. And for Smarter Balance, we are in the process of making the Smarter Balance assessment the greatest test in the world. But we're doing it here in America because America first. And I gotta say that when we build this test, we're not even gonna have Mexico pay for it. But we have 3.2 million kids taking this test. Absolutely unbelievable. Give yourselves a round of applause. Now, you probably thought that the day after the debate I would come up here and tell a lot of political jokes. But I really don't do that a lot. I will say that I did watch it. If you missed it, if you watch the primaries for the last 18 months, they basically took everything they said in 18 months and condensed it to 90 minutes. So you really didn't miss anything, and not too much anyway. Afterwards, the most entertaining, of course, I watch it for the entertainment value. The most entertaining thing was actually what happened afterwards, where Donald Trump complained that his mic was defective. And he wondered if that was on purpose. And I'm not making this up. You can look it up. He was claiming that the mic was defective and was wondering if that was on purpose. And actually, I was wondering if it was a problem myself, because I do think the microphone didn't help him. It appeared to pick up every word he said crystal clear. Not helpful at all. But I will say you might have missed the one announcement he made. You know, a couple weeks ago he was on Dr. Oz to talk about what a virile specimen of health he is. And that went so well that he made an announcement last night that if he actually wins in November, Judge Judy is going to give him the oath of office. So that's the only thing you missed. That's the only thing you missed from the debates last night. But Smarter Balance and the implementation of Smarter Balance was huge. Huge. 3.2 million kids. Again, less than 900 kids had to take that test on paper and pencil. Now, a few years from now, when memories are forgotten, I will take credit for all of it. Can't really do that now, so I will share that credit among a number of people, including Michelle Center, our K-12 State's Assessment Director, her staff, all the staff that are in your schools and districts. An amazing job once again with an implementation that far surpassed any other state in the nation. 3.2 million kids is an absolutely unbelievable accomplishment, and we did it 2 years in a row without any major technical difficulties, something that most states actually can't make a claim to. So besides that, congratulations. Michelle will talk a little bit more about the results themselves. I'm here just to give you a welcome. This will be a fun day, a full of information day. We've got a lot of information to share with you, a lot of updates. I'm only going to give you 2 quick updates and then turn it over to Michelle. First is, as you know, we suspended Casey. When I say we, I mean the legislature, suspended Casey for the last couple of years and required the Department of Education to put together an advisory panel and then a report to the legislature about the future of exit exams. So that report is getting ready to be posted on our website as an information memo to the State Board of Education, and it probably comes as no surprise to you, but the recommendation from the superintendent to the legislature is that we no longer need an exit exam here in California. That exit exam, Casey, was based on old standards. We've moved on to standards that are based on college and career readiness. We have a test that measures that well, and there's no need for us to then have some sort of a minimal competency on a statewide assessment. So the recommendation from the superintendent will be to discontinue Casey permanently and to remove the education code that requires an exit exam to earn a diploma in California. That will take legislative action because Casey and the exit exam requirement are both part of education code. The other update I want to give you also has to do with high school, and that is, you may have seen in other states, some other states, they have decided to use a college entrance exam like an SAT or an ACT in place of their grade 11 exam. I think they made those decisions not necessarily for educational purposes. Maybe the reasons had to do with politics in the state. Maybe they had to do with testing time. Maybe they had to do just with trying to reduce the pressure maybe on grade 11 students. I don't know, but I don't think those decisions were made for educational reasons. California has no interest at this time of looking at SAT or ACT or any other test, although it appears to be allowed by our new federal law. We're not looking to replace our grade 11 Smarter Balance test with SAT or ACT. We're satisfied with the grade 11 test. We know that it's connected to our current standards, something we really don't know about those college entrance exams. They're still, for states that are using those exams, they'll have to go through a peer review process that's done by the U.S. Department of Education to determine just how closely they are aligned with standards and if they're really measuring what needs to be measured, including accommodations for students such as special education students or English learners, something that Smarter Balance has. Those accommodations, those college entrance exams do not have. Along with that, I would say that we also don't really know what those college entrance exams do for our kids on the lower levels, levels 1 and 2. We know what they're good for in terms of admitting kids for college and universities, but what we really need for grade 11, as we need it for all grades, is to let us know how all kids are doing in all grades. No matter where they are on the continuum, whether they're level 1 kids or level 4 in their assessment results, we need to know and get information back on how all kids are doing, not just those who are headed to a 4-year university. So, with that, I would also say that those college entrance exams are going to have to catch up to Smarter Balance and to where the rest of us are in terms of computer-based assessments. Those other assessments are currently paper pencil, which means they have no way to do some of the more innovative test items that we want to see now and in the future. And of course, I mentioned before the accommodations that cannot be made available on paper and pencil, as well as things like constructive responses. Those tests, they ask a lot of questions. They do it on paper pencil, so they're able to do it fairly cheaply and to give a lot of results based on again, multiple choice type questions. So California's just not interested right now. We're satisfied with our grade 11 test. Thanks a lot to your implementation of the assessments themselves. And again, I just want to once again tell you how proud I am when I go to these national conferences to talk about California's implementation of Smarter Balance. Because it's not just It's not just the assessment implementation itself, but it's the support that comes from the whole range of folks in California. We have support from the governor's office to the legislature, to the state board, certainly, of course, our superintendent, the Department of Education, school districts out there, our business community, all know that these college career standards is the way to go, and having computer adaptive tests with accommodations for our students that need them is the right direction. And so, you know, just very proud of the work that you've done. And I will say, when I kiddingly wear my hat of making assessments great again, you may not realize this, although if you're an assessment coordinator here, you're probably very well aware that we're actually in the process of developing 6 different assessments aside from Smarter Balance. Right? So we've got Smarter Balance implementation that we're in the middle of after 2 years, but we got 6 other assessments that we're doing because we haven't changed assessments in quite a while. So we're looking at, we just gave a new alternate assessment for our California state standards for our 1% of kids that have significant cognitive disabilities. We've got new science standards, next generation science standards, so we're building a new assessment for that as well as an alternate assessment to go along with it. We're building a new test to replace the standards test in Spanish. So that's another test that we were working on. We have a new LPAC exam that's going to replace our CELT exam, and that LPAC exam also has to have an alternate exam to go with it. And the LPAC is actually going to be 2 assessments, a screener as well as an annual assessment. So very busy these days in the assessment division, and I give a lot of credit to the work that's being done by our assessment division at the California Department of Education, as well as, of course, the great work that you're doing that I've already mentioned. So with that, I want to kick off the day, welcome you. We're going to have a good day, and I'm going to say, roll the tape.